I should just leave it
Yeah,
muted.
just leave it. Or you want to leave it muted?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Hi, Jeremy.
I don't think he can hear me. Hi, Jeremy. I don't think he can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm muting it now.
Huh?
I'm going to mute it now.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
We can.
I'm having trouble with my video here, so.
When do we have self-driving cars? I can hardly wait.
I don't know the answer to that. Hopefully in the next year or so. Jeremy, I think it's 1. Is that time you have?
I'm here.
We are ready to go. We have one member who's having a little bit of technical difficulty muting in. I don't know if we want to wait a minute or two just to see if we can resolve those and get her in. Maybe if you wouldn't mind waiting 2 minutes, Mr. Chairman, and then we can get going.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Well, it looks like somebody has a assistant there joining the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I think we're ready to go when you are. Gio's working on getting in. Hopefully she'll be in as we sort of get through some of the early elements of the agenda.
Okay, great. We will call the Las Vegas Stadium Authority Board October 15th meeting to order. I want to thank everybody for taking time. This is, I think, the first time in quite a while that we've had a special meeting, and we'll try and move it along expeditiously, but I want to thank everybody for taking the time to be with us today. So I'll call the roll real quickly. Vice Chair Epstein,
I'm here.
Ms. Aquino Klein is trying to join. She's going to be with us shortly. Ms. Jones Blackhurst and friend. Mr. Newcomb.
Here.
Mr. White.
Here.
Mr. Tapardi.
Here.
Mr. Evans.
Present.
And so we have a quorum. We also, Ms. Fitzpatrick, you with us as well?
Yes, I am. After a little bit of technical difficulty, I have joined.
Great. Thanks for being here. So agenda item 3 is approval of the agenda. So if the board doesn't have anything they would like to include on the agenda or anything they'd like to delete, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Tommy White, motion to approve.
Ken Evans, second.
Motion second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Great, thank you. The only thing I'll mention in my comments, yesterday was kind of another landmark day for Las Vegas in that we were able to successfully receive 9 championships from the NCAA, and including a couple of very high-profile events, but kind of a broad cross-section of opportunities for Las Vegas. And I think all of us, if we 5 years ago had put odds on either the NFL being here or the NCAA having events in Las Vegas, that most of the bets would be on the no side. So it's a pretty remarkable day yesterday for Las Vegas, and I think the stadium, the work with the NFL, all of the work that you and many more have done have allowed that to happen. So we were excited yesterday, look forward to those events and future opportunities with the NCAA, and I want to thank all our partners, including UNLV, who is the school hosting all of those events, for working to make that happen. So we're excited about that. Anybody else on the board have anything they want to add?
Mr. Chairman, this is Jeremy. Sorry to interrupt you. We jumped over the public comment.
Oh yeah, we did.
So if we can go back to that whenever there's an appropriate time to do so, that'd be
Well, now seems like an appropriate time to do so. If there is a member of the public that would like to address the board, Brian, I'll let you lead us through that process.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brian Haynes for the record. First off, we did not receive any written correspondence or emails for the public record and comment today. For those folks who wish to comment in the WebEx platform, you can use the raise hand feature, which is available on the participants panel or in the little 3-dot circle, I believe, as well. So if anyone would like to speak, please use that feature and we will call on you.
Well, I'd like to speak.
Okay. Is that Ms. Aletta Dupree?
Yes, you recognize my voice. Thank you. Let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Steve Hill and members Alita Dupree for the record. My pronouns are she and her. It's good to be with you, and thank you for calling this meeting. I'm going to comment on the posted agenda item, which refers to the plans and documentations for approvals of a rapid transit station to be proposed for the Allegiant Stadium. This is very important work. As I have mentioned, the importance of rapid transit actually to the stadium. And not everybody's going to want to be able to walk over the bridge, and this will offer an ADA accessible option to access the stadium. There are a number of stadiums around the country which have rapid transit access, such as Wrigley Field in Chicago, which is very close to the red and purple line. The MetLife Stadium in New Jersey has a Meadowlands rail line. And there are a number of other stadiums. So mobility is essential to getting to the stadium. And I do support parking and tailgating. That is an important part of the stadium experience. But not everyone will be doing that, so we don't want to have the roads clogged with automobiles. So this is essential to make a rapid transit system in Las Vegas work. The Strip is crowded. And so as I close here, I ask for your yes vote on this item. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bree. Mr. Chairman, it does not appear that anyone else has their hand raised to speak at this time.
Great, thanks, Brian. Okay, we will then jump back to agenda item 5, which is reviewing and potentially approving the revised UNLV football schedule. As you know, we have the responsibility to approve that schedule and had done so, but then the schedule changed, so felt that it was important to revisit that, and I'll turn it over to Jeremy.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. As you mentioned, the agenda item is to review and potentially approve the revised UNLV football schedule for the 2020 season at Allegiant Stadium and for the priority home game scheduled for the 2021 through 2027 seasons per Section 29 3G2 4 of Senate Bill 1 of the Nevada State Legislature 2006 special session. The revised schedule is in your board packets that have been provided to you as agenda item associated with agenda item number 5. I do want to extend my thanks to both UNLV for getting through this process, but also the folks at Allegiant Stadium, Mr. Wright, as well as all the folks at Stadco and the Raiders for coordinating this. Obviously, these are challenging times relative to the schedule, and everybody came together to find a way to make all of this work. So the schedule is before you for revised as of October 2020 for the board's consideration.
Thanks, Jeremy. Any questions for Jeremy?
No, Jeremy, if I could just make one quick statement thanking Chris Wright and his team at the end of the day who made this happen for us in a tough spot, you know, relatively quickly with a whole slate of Raiders games in there. So much appreciated to the support from Chris and his booking team.
Great, thanks. If there are no other comments or questions, entertain a motion to approve.
Tommy White, motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Ken Evans, second. Ken Evans, second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Great, thank you. Agenda item 6 is to review and potentially authorize me as chair work with staff and approve and execute a land use application from the Stadium Authority as the property owner for the Boring Company application for the resort corridor loop system that you may have seen a little bit about over the last couple of days. And I'll try and briefly explain this, and a number of you have built projects and understand how this works, but the Boring Company is applying, in our case, to the county, but for the project that is north of Sahara to the city, for a land use permit to be able to build this project. Subsequently, there will be building permits that will be needed, but the first application is for that land use. Obviously, the Boring Company does not own the land under which they will be building this project. So they are required to get each affected landowner along the route to co-sign that application in order to be able to turn it in and have it be considered. I think all of the landowners on the route have now co-signed that application, other than the Stadium Authority. And so we are asking that you consider that today. Just a little bit of background on the boring company. As you probably know, we've here at the LVCVA, we have contracted with the boring company to put a people mover system, loop system in on our campus. That project is very near completion, and we'll be commissioning that over the next couple of months and have it available as we move into the new year. The main tunnels as we move out into the resort corridor, and most think of them running directly underneath the strip. That is, for the most part, not accurate. They are spread further apart for a number of reasons. One is it's helpful to have the main tunnel as close to where stations will be as possible. It's also helpful to have the two parallel tunnels separated by some distance, because there will be what are effectively U-turns or traffic circles along the route, so that if you are on one side of the street or the other and want to go to the property close to you but on the other side of the street, you don't have to go around the entire loop in order to just go to a property across the street that is close by. So every 3/4 or a mile or so, there will be the ability to turn and go in the other direction. Having those main tunnels separated is helpful. The main tunnel height may move a little bit depending on what's underground, but for the most part, it is intended that the crown of that tunnel be 30 feet below the surface. The tunnel, the boring is 13.5 foot in diameter. The inside of the tunnel, once it has been lined, is 12 feet in diameter. And on the bottom of that tunnel is just an asphalt road lane on which different models of Teslas will run. And at some point, when the health situation is more appropriate, the potential for trams is there as well. The stations will probably either all or for the most part be above ground. And from the main tunnel, there are exit ramps to those stations, ramps that ramp up to the surface to that station, and then from that station ramp back down to the main tunnel. We would anticipate that would be the situation, and almost certainly will be so at the stadium. This system is, from an engineering standpoint, very safe. Building tunnels is a very old technology, and the boring company's obviously shown that they know how to do that. Tunnels that are small underground actually at times make the entire site more safe. So, for example, it's safer to be in that tunnel during an earthquake than it is to be at grade during an earthquake in the event that we would have one. Tunnels and round surfaces tend to dissipate energy around the area rather than allow that energy to be concentrated in a point. And that makes those tunnels a very safe environment. So I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have. If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the application.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a question, but I will note that this is the exact same route that we proposed in 1992, and it's taken us 30 years, but you got us. I hope we make progress faster as we move forward. No, we were waiting for the technology to get to. We were going to use a model.
Yeah.
anyway, Dan Jones, for the record, I would move to approve if there's no other questions.
Mr. Chairman, before you move forward with the approval of the item, if we could just put on the record just very briefly, the land use application that's shown before you has one of the parcels identified. The second parcel that will likely be amended into this is parcel number 16229310002. There's just two parcels under which the stadium is constructed, and just to ensure we have all the bases covered, we want to make sure that that additional 2.8 acres is also reflected on the record. My apologies for the interruption.
No. Thanks for doing it, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
Chair.
Sure, go ahead, Ken.
I just have one question for the record. At any point in time, will the stadium or the stadium authority be required to bear any of the costs associated with the project? Again, I just want to ask this for the record.
Yeah, no, it's a good question, Mr. Evans. The general business model in the resort corridor is that the boring company is going to fund the construction of the main tunnels, and any organization, property that would like to have a station and connect to those main tunnels will be responsible for the cost of building the station and those connections, which is one of the reasons to have the main tunnel as close to those stations as possible. The stadium authority itself will not be responsible for any of those costs. I mean, we've expended all the money, or will expend all the money that we are authorized to spend. The Raiders have written a letter to Clark County, and they have copied the stadium authority asking, while showing their support for this system, and asking us to favorably consider this option. But it will be the Raiders that will bear the cost of the construction of a station and the connections.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thanks for asking the question. Is that a second?
Tommy White, second.
Okay. A question and a second. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thanks. Jeremy, I'll turn item 7, and I don't know if you want to take 7 and 8 together, but turn them over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly, if it's okay with you, I think taking items 7 and 8 together make logical sense. The Stadium Authority Board members recall back in 2019, there was some discussion, and into 2020 as well, there was some discussion relative to property on Warm Springs that there was potential to put a parking facility on. The Raiders requested that the Clark County Stadium Authority enter into a lease with Clark County, and then subsequently enter into a sublease with the Stadium Events Company for access to that property. That took place. However, the Raiders and Stadco have requested that lease be terminated. Mark Bedane is here today, Mr. Chairman, to add a little bit of commentary relative to the broader parking strategy. However, this is on the Stadium Authority Board's agenda. Item number 7 would be to review and potentially authorize the chairman to approve the termination of the lease between Clark County and the Clark County Stadium Authority. That's part 1 for the Warm Springs property. And then item number 8 would be to do the exact same thing, but to terminate the lease with the sublease, between the Stadium Authority Board and the Las Vegas Stadium Events Company. The idea and the reason that it's being brought before you in this special meeting is that Stadco has been working directly with the county in terms of that termination. And so as that continues to progress, we expect that to happen in advance of the Stadium Authority Board's next meeting. And this will facilitate the ability to essentially finalize that change without having to cause any unnecessary delays for any of the parties. Mr. Chairman, Mark Arnold is also here to the extent there's any questions around the legal issues surrounding this, but he's also had the opportunity to review this. Has been remarkably helpful in that regard. Happy to answer any questions if the board should have it.
Thank you, Jeremy. Any questions for Mr. Aguero? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve agenda items 7 and 8. Then.
Dan Jones, Blackhurst, approve item 7 and 8.
Tommy White, second.
So motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Great, thank you. And that reminds me, since we have Mr. Bedane on the phone, I should have in my comments just mentioned nice win on Sunday. So congratulations, Mr. Bedane and everybody involved. And with that, we will move on to agenda item 9, which is public comment. So Brian, I will turn that over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Brian Haynes for the record. As we did before, if anyone in the WebEx platform would like to speak for public comment, please use the raise your hand feature and we will call on you. Okay. Mr. Chair, no one has indicated they would like to speak.
Okay, we'll close agenda item 9, and that will be the adjournment of the meeting. Thanks again for everybody joining and taking time to do this special meeting. And hope you have a great rest of your week. Thanks very much.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great weekend, everyone.